Most people have a number in their head. They want to earn enough to never worry about money again. They want to wake up without an alarm. They want to know that whether they work or not, the bills are covered. For a lot of Americans, that number lands right around $85,000 a year. That is a comfortable life in most of the country. It covers a mortgage. It covers groceries. It covers a couple of vacations, with room left to breathe. So here is the real question worth answering today. How much money do you need invested so your money earns $85,000 a year for you without you lifting a finger? Let's start with the rule planners have leaned on for decades. It is called the 4% rule. The idea is simple. If you withdraw 4% of your invested money each year, your portfolio should last around 30 years. That holds up even through recessions and market crashes. So if you want $85,000 a year, you divide 85,000 by 4%. That gives you $2,125,000. Take a breath, because that number stings. It sounds impossible when your checking account barely reaches the next payday. Stay here, though, because the full picture is far more encouraging. Here is the first thing nobody tells you. That $2 million figure assumes you live entirely off your investments. No Social Security, no part-time income, no pension, nothing. For most Americans, that is not reality. The average Social Security check in 2026 is just over $2,000 a month for a retired worker. That works out to about $25,000 a year. For a married couple, it can climb past $45,000 a year combined. So the gap your investments need to fill is not $85,000. Say Social Security covers $45,000. That leaves $40,000. To generate $40,000 at that same 4% rate, you divide $40,000 by 4%. You need just $1 million invested. That is the power of stacking income sources. You do not have to build the whole mountain yourself. There is another way to reach $85,000 a year. It does not require touching your original money at all. The answer is dividends. A dividend is a cash payment a company sends you just for owning its stock. Some investors build portfolios designed to pay them this income directly. The broad S&P 500 right now pays a dividend yield of just over 1%. On its own, that would require a huge pile of money. But dedicated high dividend funds are paying closer to 4% today. At a 4% dividend yield, divide 85,000 by 4%. You are back to about $2,125,000 to generate $85,000 a year in pure dividend income. Here is the good part. You may never have to sell a single share. Your shares keep working while the cash lands in your account. What about the safest option on the table? Right now, high-yield savings accounts and CDs pay around 4%. A CD is just a savings account that locks your money in for a set time at a fixed rate. The 10-year Treasury, which is a loan you make to the government, sits near 4.4% today. Park money at 4.4% and divide 85,000 by that rate. You need about $1,932,000 to throw off $85,000 a year in interest. That is the most predictable income you can get. It is government-backed and steady. But rates this high do not last forever, and over many years they often fail to keep up with rising prices. So your real target depends on the path you choose. It sits somewhere between roughly $1 million and a little over $2 million. The low end is when you combine investments with Social Security. The high end is when your portfolio does all the work. Here is where the conversation shifts, because the number is only half the story. The other half is time. This part should give you real hope. Say you are starting close to zero and you want to build $2 million. Picture a low-cost index fund. That is, a basket that holds hundreds of companies at once, so you are not betting on one stock. Historically, these average around 8 to 10% a year. Invest $1,500 a month at that pace, and you reach roughly $2 million in about 27 years. Raise it to $2,500 a month, and you get there in around 22 years. The most powerful force working for you is compound growth. That is, when your returns start earning their own returns. The snowball gets bigger every single year you stay invested. Early on, the growth feels slow. Then it speeds up. In the final years, your money can grow more in 12 months than you added all year. If you stop adding money after year 20, that pile keeps growing on its own. The returns alone can add tens of thousands of dollars a year, more than you used to put in by hand. That is the moment your money truly starts working harder than you do. This is why the people who win with money are not usually the highest earners. They are the ones who started early. They kept investing through the scary years. They refused to cash out when the market dropped. The market has crashed many times. Every single time over a long enough window, it has recovered and climbed to new highs. So here is the honest takeaway. Earning $85,000 a year from your investments is not a fantasy for lottery winners or tech founders. It is a math problem. Math problems have solutions. The work is figuring out which path fits your life. Are you leaning on dividends, on safe interest, on the 4% rule, or on a blend of all of them stacked with Social Security? Once you know your path, the target becomes clear. A clear target is something you can actually plan around. Run your own numbers. Take the income you want, subtract what Social Security might cover, divide what is left by 4%. That answer is your real number, and it is probably smaller than the scary one in your head. If this gave you a clearer picture of your own number, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you there.